Hey bakers, today I'm going to be showing you how to make these Ursula character macarons. Here's a list of all the ingredients you will need. I started out with my 132 grams of powdered sugar, 132 grams of almond flour, and 10 grams of cornstarch, all pre-sifted. I put 100 grams of egg whites in my KitchenAid and I started on speed 4. And after 2 minutes, it will begin to look frothy like this. Go ahead and add 2 dashes of your cream of tartar in there and continue to mix another 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, go ahead and add your sugar in 3 equal parts. Your meringue should start looking a little bit thicker and you should start being able to see whisk lines left inside of your meringue. If you add your sugar too fast, it will melt your meringue and you will end up with a soupy mess. After you add your sugar, go ahead and leave it on speed 4 for an additional 4 minutes. After the 4 minutes is up, it's going to start looking whiter and glossier. You're going to put it on speed 6 for 5 minutes. Keep in mind, each KitchenAid mixer is different. I start with a low speed because I want to give the sugar a chance to melt inside of the egg whites. If you end up with really grainy macs, it's probably because your sugar didn't have time to melt. After you've left your KitchenAid on speed 6 for 5 minutes, you're going to turn it up to speed 8 for 4 minutes. And then after that 4 minutes is up, it should be pretty thick. So you're going to want to turn off your KitchenAid and check it. What I like to do is I like to swirl my whisk around the bowl just to kind of stir it up, anything that's loose and not thick on the bottom. Take my whisk back out, check the thickness. That is a really good stiff peak, but I like to go a little bit further. So after you have already done the speed 8 for 4 minutes, I like to put it back on 10, speed 10 on high for 30 seconds. And then do the same thing. Check your whisk again. That is a perfect and stiff meringue. It's glossy, it's thick. You'll see in a minute how hard it is for me to get it out of my whisk. When your meringue starts balling up in your whisk like this, it is done. So to macaronage, this is the part where we're going to add all of our dry ingredients to our meringue. I left this in real time because I want you guys to be able to follow each stroke that I do. That is what helped me learn how to macaronage. This is the most important part of macarons, and I think the hardest part that people have a problem with. So as you can see, what I like to do is I like to go 2 times around my bowl and then cut through the middle. So I always make these sounds like swish, swish, through the middle, swish, swish, through the middle. Now when you're gonna split your batter and you're mixing multiple colors for character macs, you usually need a couple of colors. You're not going to want to overmix this. So this isn't a normal macaronage video. I can make a separate video for that, but this one, we just want to get the egg whites and all the dry ingredients incorporated together. So you'll see I won't go all the way to the point of lava consistency because we're going to split our batter here in a minute. You see me adding my second portion of dry ingredients. I like to split it up in half just because it's easier on my arm. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm going around my bowl and then I'm cutting through the middle. And as soon as you don't see any more dry ingredients, you can go ahead and start splitting the batter into however many colors you need for your choice of macaron. It's also really important to make sure that you are scraping from the bottom because you will have a lot of dry ingredients down there and you want to make sure that they all get incorporated. Another tip I like to do when I first started making macarons, I liked to find videos where I could physically follow them. So if they did a swirl around their bowl, then I would do a swirl. So I stopped exactly when they stopped. And eventually I got to the point to where I learned where I didn't need to watch the video anymore. I knew the consistency of the batter. So here you're going to see me splitting my colors up. Make sure that whatever colors you're going to be choosing for your macarons, make sure you always split the colors up with glass bowls. Don't use plastic because it's really hard to get any oils and things like that out of plastics, and if oil touches your macaron batter, it's going to ruin it. So here I am adding my violet for Ursula. Just 2 drops is enough. I use the Wilton brand. I'm going to swirl that around, and again, this is in real time still, just so you guys can try to follow it as much as you can. Something I never understood with macarons is you are supposed to deflate your egg whites. That's how you don't get cracks. So you will see me grab my spatula and spin it around my bowl. So I spin my bowl and my spatula and scrape the batter up against the side of the bowl. Now, if you have a hollow macaron, it is most likely because you made your batter too runny. If you macaronage it for too long, if you do this whole spinning up against the side of the bowl for too long, it's going to be runny. So the trick is to lift up your batter every, I don't know, about 10 seconds and put it on your spatula and let it run down. You'll see me do it here. And then when those drips fall, count 30 seconds. If the lines of your batter is dissolving within 10 seconds, 15 seconds, you probably went too far and you might have a slightly hollow macaron. So because I like a thicker batter, I like to not macaronage as much, and I don't consider it lava consistency. That Ursula one was, in my opinion, I went a little too far there, even though they did come out beautiful, but normally I like a thick batter. So basically the trick is to get your batter thick enough where you won't have hollow macarons, but don't leave it so thick where you leave nipples on your macarons. It's just finding that perfect niche. That's why I always follow the videos that I'm watching. If it's in fast forward timing or something like that, it doesn't help you at all. Here I fast forwarded all the colors because I already showed you how to macaronage with the purple, so I didn't want it to be a 20-minute long video, but it's the same thing. So I don't use any metal tips or anything for character macarons. You're going to put it in your piping bag, cut small holes out. I like to grab the tip of the bag and just kind of round it out. And then you're just going to follow the shape. And what I like to do is I like to start out with a normal macaron shape, the round circle, and then kind of trace it and go along it. And then I like to stop giving pressure and swirl it around just to get any bubbles out and try to smooth out the face as much as I can. So do that for every one, and then I'll show you what to do next. As you're piping these character macarons, they take a little bit longer than just round circles, so you're going to be wanting to tapping your tray down to get all those bubbles out. That will also cause cracks if you don't do that. Here I am adding her little feet. For the hair, I like to put pressure coming down next to the ear and then go back up so it ends up being a little bit sharp so it looks like a hairline next to the ears. So the trick with character macarons too is they take a little while. So anytime before I put facial features on her face, I'm going to let her face part, the purple face part, dry for, I time it for usually about 12 minutes. And then after 12 minutes, if you want like 3D hair or anything like that, then you need to let your batter dry a little bit first before you add on any details. So I always wait about 12 minutes, but I'm always tapping my tray in between. So now that I have done her face shape and her hair shape, her face has had time to dry now, and I'm going to add her nose. And I think the trick to making character macarons, for one, if you can't make a regular macaron, a circle shape one, then you're probably not going to have success with a character one, because you're splitting your batter in multiple colors, which is really hard. And it's hard, like where the white meets Ursula's purple face, it's hard to not get a crack there if you're not really practicing your regular macaron shape, I guess. But I think the main trick to it is other than having a good recipe to start with, is letting them dry. I get so impatient with letting my macarons dry, but with character macarons, you have to let them dry a full 1 hour. Completely dry 1 hour. You want them over dry, if anything. And I also have way better success with my character macarons if I am adding cornstarch. Cornstarch does make your macarons a little bit more chewier and not as crunchy, but every time I add cornstarch to my character macaron, it never fails. I wait until my oven is preheated and I cook them for 14 minutes at 300 Fahrenheit on the middle rack in my oven. Here now is just preference. You can paint this on, you can draw it on with edible markers. I had brown, I couldn't find my black marker, but you're just copying your image now at this point. And that's pretty much it, guys. As long as you add cornstarch, let them dry fully, you're good to go. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please subscribe.